On today's talking point, we're having as guest Fabrice Lena. He is the National Communication Secretary of the Secretary General of the Popular Action Party. Good evening and welcome, Fabrice Lena.
Good evening, Mr. Innocent Azer. Good evening to all the viewers of Equinox TV. Good evening to my brothers and sisters in the Northwest, Southwest, in Southern Cameroon. Good evening to John Dennis Tabe, National President of Popular Action Party. Happy birthday to Justice Aya Paul Abine. Today makes him 71. At least it's very rare to see icons like him who have fought for justice in this country to be alive today. We give God the glory. Thank you for having me as your guest.
You're welcome. At the level of the Popular Action Party, how have you been celebrating maybe the anniversary of Justice Aya Paul?
We can only wish Justice Aya long life, prosperity, and we wish him to keep us, guiding us, giving us the mentorship to stand on the side of justice, truth, and to be with the people and the people first all the time.
Okay. That's it. We equally of Equinox, we wish him a happy birthday. Now we begin by talking about the health crisis. We're talking about the COVID-19 pandemic. We know our government has been striving hard to fight this pandemic. We have support from foreign partners, from the International Monetary Fund, but huge funds, gathered by Cameroon from the International Monetary Fund. But today, many people say these sums of money have been embezzled, by some persons who are in charge with the COVID gates. What is the PAP saying?
It is not some people or some persons saying that money have been stolen.
Let's say Cameroonians.
Yes, money have been stolen by government officials or some ministers. I was reading a 26-page document released today by the Chamber of Accounts of the Supreme Court, revealing documents showing that some ministers embezzled money, depicting what we have been talking about. Maybe you would like to know some of the things that were said there. Ministry of Health awarded 4 contracts for drugs worth 53 million, but till now he is unable to indicate where the drugs were stored. A building that was made free by the government of the Republic of Cameroon to take care of COVID-19 cases was given to the ministry, under the Ministry of Health, to manage, and a sum of 1 billion was allocated for the management and maintenance of this building. So we don't know the account of how this money has been spent, because the audit basis, no report has been given so far of the maintenance or repairing of this building so far, because nothing has changed there. This is report from the audit, from the account chambers of the Supreme Court. It is what they are saying, that from the report they were expecting from the money discharged at the level of Ministry of Finance and what they are actually having as a report from the various ministries, there is a lot of loopholes. So it comes to confirm to Cameroonians and every Cameroonian watching to know that these people were never there to fight COVID-19 pandemic, but they were there to steal their money. And even the Ministry of Finance confirmed it when he was in front of the Senate the other day in a audio that is in the social media. Everybody can listen to him talk. He said that certains ministères qui n'étaient même pas concernés sont venus à la source pour le mangeoire. That's the minister saying it to minister of the Republic of Cameroon. So Mr. Innocent Azer, he is the one saying that the COVID-19 money came and people were already giving money for the fight of repercussion of the pandemic without even fighting the pandemic itself. Because if money is given in March 2020, April 2020, at that point we were talking about the pandemic, not the repercussions of the pandemic. And ministers like secondary education, ministers like tourism, ministers like economy and planning, what were their concern at the point that they were fighting pandemic? Because if you say Minister of Tourism came for the maintenance of hotel, is it not in Douala here that some people who were France, Germany, they came from abroad and they ran from a hotel because there was no maintenance? It is appalling. What does this tell us? It tells us that the people who are in Yaoundé do not have conscience. Yaoundé ministers do not have conscience, and they have stolen money meant for health crisis, pandemic in the country. They have to give accountability to. And I like the last statement made by the audit of chamber at the Supreme Court. They say that 14 proceedings for mismanagement, 1-5 for de facto mismanagement, has been forwarded to the Ministry of Justice. You know, Cameroon is some sort of jungle where one unjust person judge another unjust person. So we are expecting to see the Minister of Justice, who himself, justice has never been rendered under his ministry, to be just or carry out sanctions to the other ministers who have stolen money. You know, it is only when the issue becomes very critical, open to the eyes of Cameroonians, they are aware of what is happening before something is being done. But we hope to see that these ministers are in prison, not only in prison, but the money recovered. In a serious country, Mr. Aze, this issue of COVID-19 is what they call high treason. Because in countries like China, Russia, when money of the state in this quantity, in this amount is stolen, it is firing squad. They kill the people to set example. But in our own, they pirate in front of the assembly, pirate in front of the Senate, singing songs. And to the best of my knowledge, nothing in this country had ever been serious when it comes to people who we call ministers that are supposed to be the first guarantor of management policies, of laws, of texts that are supposed to regulate attitude of civil servants in the offices. And well, we of the Popular Action Party is there to open the eyes of Cameroonians, to tell them the truth, to tell them that this is where they are supposed to open their eyes. If they were supposed to give award to citizens of the world for tolerance, I will say that Cameroonian citizens are too tolerant for people to embezzle 180 million. Is it million or billions?
Billions.
Billions.
Talking of billions.
You see, billions. You know, the amount is too huge that I'm just dreaming of that amount stolen by some people, few individuals, and everybody is talking and looking at the issue like that.
And why are these persons, you calling them ministers, why are they feeling free whereas they should be haunted? Why are they actually feeling free in front of
it is the system, it's the nature of the country. Because in our country, I was listening to one other very interesting video from one parliamentarian today. I don't really know the name of that parliamentarian, where he himself is affirming that the system in which they are functioning like parliamentarians have failed, making them to carry in their conscience the inability to deliver to the people what they were expected of, what they were voted to the parliament to do, telling the other ministers that he does not know whether as he's going back to his office he's going to remove his coat and rest, because the conscience of the nation, the atrocities they have committed, and the money of the COVID, which is now on the shoulders of the parliamentarians to justify to Cameroonians, senators and the ministers, it is disturbing all of them. Whereas when the money came, they were not concerned with the management and how it ended up in the pockets of people that they are unable to justify today. That's to tell you that we are in a system of mixed up cacophonic type of government where the description is yet to be found in a living dictionary in the 21st century. The government has simply failed. They need to resign. They need to tell Cameroonians, apologize to Cameroonians for eating their money, for playing with lives of Cameroonians. We are talking of health crisis here. I think you people are journalists. You must have seen what happened in, I think it's Malawi with Lazarus Chawera, the president there. He said, no, if you joke with $1 of money meant to fight COVID-19, you are going to go to prison. And not only going to prison, you confiscate all the properties of these people. If you go to Kondege, Mr. Innocent, I am working with a lot of people who are doing prison watch, who are watching what is happening. The best quarters of the prison is meant for people who have embezzled. And these people still have access to their assets. What type of prison is that? There is no prison. Prison, if prison was meant to be that comfortable, some people even prefer to go to that prison. Of course. Go to, there are two prisons in Yaoundé, prison principal and prison central. Central is made up of people who are political prisoners, and they are not even strong in terms of the amount of atrocities they have committed to the population. And then prison principal, now that is very much relaxed, the rules there and everything, control and mode of life is not difficult. It's made for those who have committed high treason, who have stolen huge amount of money that their sons and daughters who are abroad, who are everywhere, are going to enjoy for life. How do you justify that? What type of republic are we in? That is where, and that is why we of the Popular Action Party is saying that we must treat this issue of COVID gate with rigor. This is where they have to set example to say Cameroon and Cameroonians and the state authorities and civil servants should not joke with money of the state. And this is borrowed money. It is not even money that it is, let's say, internal contribution or money from our own activities, borrowed money, which means the burden is on you and me, on products that we are going to buy. Indirect taxes are going to increase very soon. We'll be buying a cup of rice and so on and so forth for very high amounts.
Even basic commodities in the markets, whose prices have skyrocketed, and you saying that they have used the COVID-19 pandemic as a confirm the harvest farm. So you are the one saying so. You are
I'm not the one saying so. The Ministry of Finance was the one who said in front of senators that, listen to his words, that comme on dit à la source, certains ministères qui n'étaient pas concernés. I am quoting Louis Paul Mutaze, the Ministry of Finance, in front of the Senate. The video is there. Go and see it. I'm not the one. It's not Fabrice Lena. It is the minister who said it. And that is the way Cameroon is being run. And nobody says anything. Is that serious? Is that a country that we talk of and people are dying? Go and see the number of IDPs that are dying because they don't have medication, Mr. Innocent Aze. Look at what is happening. Equipments bought a whole lot of cacophony. There is one of this part of the report where they say an enterprise, ETS, Abua, ABS Motors, Face Engineering, have the same manager, and this manager is the junior brother of the Ministry of Public Health. How do you explain this?
Before we wrap up, before we end, what if the Popular Action Party was given an upper hand to handle these COVID-19 funds? What would you guys do?
No, the solution is to set good example, to tell people that you don't measure up with state amount, respect the laws, the ground norm of the country, which is the constitution, text regulating the attitude and behavior of civil servants, and apply the sanctions accordingly to everyone guilty of committing such crime as stealing from the public funds. And
lastly, their last words concerning the International Monetary Fund willing to grant another loan to the government of Cameroon to fight the COVID-19 pandemic. Yeah, if the International Monetary Fund is willing to fight, it's blind? No, it's not that they are blind. They know what they are doing. You know, when a government is collapsing, international financial institutions and partners keep doing what they are doing, it means there is a hidden agenda, and that agenda will be uncovered in front of everyone. But I pray that they themselves planning another agenda to subdue Cameroonians will not succeed. Cameroonians are now very conscious and wise, and they are being mobilized. We are telling International Monetary Fund that support what you know is right, and let their conscience judge you that you are signing the pen in that particular office to make sure that you give money for people to steal. They don't give you justification. You want to give another one. Thank you so very much, Fabrice Lena. Thank you, Mr. Innocent Aze. It is always a pleasure to have been on board to give my own contribution so that our country should go ahead. Of course, it's as well a pleasure to always have you on our sets. That was Fabrice Lena, Secretary General of the Popular Action Party, punctuating on the mismanagement of COVID-19 funds meant to fight the pandemic amidst the population. That's ending this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinox Television. Thanks so much for watching. Take the rendezvous tomorrow.